Welcome to MedStar Capitals Iceplex as we bring you the all-caps scrimmage presented by Leidos. John Walton and Mike Vogel with you here on the call. It has been 137 days since the Capitals were in action in Buffalo. This a scrimmage that Mike Vogel will finish us up one more day of practice, and then it's off to the bubble in Toronto.
Yeah, a little less than 48 hours from now, Johnny, these guys will be on their way to Toronto, and this is the last scrimmage-type tune-up they're going to get between now and then.
It is a heavily stacked Team Blue. They are dressed in white, led right now by Alex Ovechkin, Tom Wilson, left wing and right wing respectively. Carlson on defense, Evgeny Kuznetsov centering that line. Your goaltender for Team Blue, and again dressed in white, is Vitek Vanacek. Braden Holtby, dressed in red, is off to your left. The format for the scrimmage today will be one 20-minute period. We will then have an intermission and then two 10-minute periods. Teams will switch ends following the abbreviated second frame. A lot of the guys in red for this one. The top line is what you would expect to be the fourth line with Garnet Hathaway and Richard Panik alongside Nick Dowd. The rest of the guys in red, Vogues, this is a team largely comprised of Hershey Bears, which is a good opportunity for them to play against the varsity, so to speak.
Yeah, they're going to get a chance to open some eyes against, they're playing a little bit above their weight class to be sure here. But this is more about getting the guys in the red sweaters, in the white sweaters, ready for what's ahead of them. And that's why Holtby's wearing the red. They want him to get the bulk of the shots here, I'm guessing.
One would think that will be the case. A face-off to the left of Holtby here with Lars Eller taking the draw for Team Blue. The third line that we would expect as the Capitals head to Toronto, an exhibition game that will be played against Carolina on Wednesday afternoon at 4 o'clock. And Ilya Kovalchuk, only a handful of games since coming over in the trade with Montreal. And on the ice here with Carl Hagelin, Eller is in the middle. Dillon and Lewington are on defense. As the puck comes back into the zone, an icing call here. It should be noted your referee for this afternoon's scrimmage, has assigned by the Washington Capitals, would be none other than Reed Cashman.
He's your referee, and he's both your referees and both your linesmen. He's doing the work of four guys out there, Johnny.
Yes, he is, as he is in his final days with the organization. Yeah. Congratulations to him, the new head coach at Dartmouth, as when the tournament ends in Toronto for the Caps, that's where he will be heading.
Indeed.
Jensen on the puck. And as it is brought around to Eller at the left point, it's sent down the wall toward Ilya Kovalchuk. Hagelin going to get himself in behind the net. Eller with it at the half boards. Michael Kempney up at the blue line. He back with John Carlson. That expected to be all things being equal as that shot from center point rattled over top of Braden Holtby. That figures to be your top pair as the Capitals get started in the round robin Stanley Cup qualifier. Hagelin with a puck as he wheels out of the corner. Out to Kempney at the blue line. And as the move comes to center point, a puck carrier is Wilson. He will outlet it to the right side. Carlson sending it deep. Coming up on 3 minutes gone here in this, the longest of the three periods, 20, 10, and 10. He ran ahead with a puck. Brian Pino with a puck in front, and Maillet coming after it. Couldn't quite get it to settle down and get a shot away against Vitek Vanacek. Pino along the wall. Maillet trying to center, comes in and out of the skates of Radko Gudas. Gudas to Garrett Pilon, who will move it around in behind the net. Pino tried to grab it with his hand and could not. Some pressure there from Travis Boyd. Down to Brendan Dillon of the near wall. Pino, the near wing. A lot of opportunity here for some Hershey guys to participate in the tournament, even if they're not playing, Vogues. What an opportunity for guys to come up from Hershey after the Bears sadly had their season cut short, and now they have a chance to do this in July, August, and we hope longer.
Yeah, Johnny, it's a great opportunity for these guys. You know, typically you've got that 23-man roster, and you're permitted to carry some extra guys during the playoffs, those so-called black aces, and these guys are going to get a great hands-on experience at the very least, practicing against other NHL players, and you never know. This thing goes on for a couple of months, the Stanley Cup tournament, and you never know what's going to happen. Guys over the years have found themselves thrust into various situations, and you never know who's going to be the hero.
Team Blue had cleared it briefly with Dmitry Orlov, and now as Team Red takes over, looking to push it back into the zone. Orlov able to break that up. Nice steal here, and dropping the shoulder is Garnet Hathaway. Trying to center, that blocked out by Nick Backstrom. Nicky with a puck and ahead to Ty Lewington. Lewington spinning and then turning it over. Richard Panik, who was playing some of his best hockey at the time of the pause. Dumping the puck back in as Kempney will start it now. And out to center. Without a goal here, almost 4.5 minutes in, TJ Oshie sliding his way into the left circle, and then a shot from Kempney that goes wide. Nearly picked off, in fact, is by Vrana. His shot comes in and off of Holtby. That deflection coming back along the boards. Up toward Beck Malenstein. Cup of coffee with the Capitals this year, including his NHL debut coming at Madison Square Garden, of all places. Played in 3 games for the Capitals, most of his time spent with Hershey. Ilya Kovalchuk along the wall, back down now to Lars Eller. Eller had it taken away. Carlson has to get back as Team Red on the move, and as the puck sent from near side to far, Daniel Sprong, who was acquired from Anaheim in the trade that sent Christian Juice to the West Coast. Might be a nice depth acquisition, folks, for the franchise, not just now, but maybe next season as well.
I totally agree, Johnny. I think, he could be a guy. You definitely don't want anybody getting hurt here, but if anybody goes down in the top 6, I think Sprong's probably the guy that they would slide into that spot. He definitely knows what he's doing around the net, and he's got a pretty good shot.
Shane Gersich with the puck for Team Red. And as his bench pass goes up top, and a chance it comes into the trapezoid, Pilon couldn't quite find it. And out past Dmitry Orlov, Radko Gudas tracking this one in the neutral zone. Back to Faravari. Cross ice to Pilon. He'll take it off the bounce. The lead ahead, broken up by the guys in white. Ty Lewington's pass broken up, and Gudas going to knuckle this one in wide of Vitek Vanacek. Still no Ilya Samsonov. He has not been on the ice throughout this time here, as the club has one more practice before leaving for Toronto, hopefully for a long time come Sunday. Exhibition and 3 round robin, and then seeing who they get in round 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Richard Panik held along the boards by Tyler Lewington. Reed Cashman letting them play here. This on the way through. Here they come, there they go. Back down now to center. Here comes Jacob Brana. Stops and then sends the pass on across. This goes up and down to play. Leidos is all caps all the way, and we're the proud presenting sponsor for today's scrimmage. At Leidos, our mission is to make the world safer, healthier, and more efficient through IT, engineering, and science. To learn more, visit Leidos.com. That's LEIDOS.com.
Less than ideal circumstances here, Johnny, as far as trying to get ready for what's ahead of the Capitals, and this goes for all of those 24 teams that are headed to the bubble. But you're trying to get ready for the Stanley Cup playoffs, and you're doing it against your buddies, your best friends, your teammates. There's not going to be a lot of hitting. You're not going to see a lot of shot blocking. All that stuff is going to have to go from 0 to 100, probably starting around August 1st when those round robin and qualifying games starts. I don't know how you're going to turn that switch for that one exhibition tune-up that they're going to give you next week. The Caps, as you mentioned earlier, will take on Carolina on Wednesday.
The critical dates moving forward, and what does this very unusual and certainly unforgettable Stanley Cup qualifier and Stanley Cup playoff look like? The qualifying round begins on August 1st. Your first round will begin on August 11th. Second round on August 25. The conference finals on September 8th, and the Stanley Cup final will begin on September 22nd. The latest this season will go, assuming all goes according to plan, would be October the 4th. Or, if you will, pretty much the same amount of time that we would have had to start a new season. In fact, the banner went up on what, October 3rd?
October 3rd, that's correct.
Very strange indeed.
Yeah.
Off the draw, Backstrom controlling here. The second line for the Caps, one would expect, with Jacob Brana on the left side. TJ Oshie on as well. Carlson and Kempney are the defenders. Carlson turning it over the blue line. Nice little poke check that comes out of the zone and away off the stick of Beck Mallenstein. Jacob Brana coming across at center. Moves in along the left side and a shot that deflects out of play. As you watch this game here with us today, you may notice that the team in white is rather stacked as opposed to the team on the other side in red. And Vogue's the reason for that, and we're so used to an exhibition or an inter-squad being guys trying out for spots, say in a normal training camp. This is not that. This is getting ready with the idea of winning a Stanley Cup, and that's why we see the alignment that we have here today. But still, unusual to see one team so heavily loaded than the other.
No doubt. Yeah, Team White is pretty stacked. That's your varsity minus the fourth line and the third pairing. Those guys shuffled over because you only got 34 players in camp, and without Samsonov, just 33. So Holtby's going to go the distance. And
quick shot here as it is taken by Garnet Hathaway, your top line left wing today for the guys in red. Puck taken away here by Brendan Dillon. Nearly 8 minutes gone by here in the first period. Full 20 minutes, a full intermission and resurfacing, and then a couple of 10-minute frames, and that'll do it. Puck carried in by Farivari, dumps it in past Orlov, played by Vanacek in behind the net, and Brendan Dillon back there. Brendan Dillon, who was trying to catch a moving train after the trade with San Jose and getting systems and getting up to speed. He's had a bit of a luxury, Vogues, that maybe he wouldn't have had otherwise, a chance to have many practice days, actually, with his new teammate.
Yeah, him and Ilya Kovalchuk both. I think it's going to benefit those guys a lot. And, looking around the league, it's going to be the same for anybody who came over at the trade deadline. Now you're going to get the benefit of a full training camp, or pretty much the equivalent of one. You'll get more video work. You'll get some hands-on experience with the coaching staff, all that stuff. So it's one of those other differences. And I think, when you look around the league, all the coaching changes that were made, how is Vegas going to come out with Pete DeBoer having a full camp? He knows that team pretty well already, having coached against them for a few years in the same division. I think that's going to help Vegas a lot. I think teams like Nashville, Minnesota, with new coaches that are going to have some time to sort of put their imprint on their new teams, I think that's going to be a factor going forward.
There'll be a lot of oddities that are going to happen we would never have expected. Teams getting healthy. Columbus.
Columbus and Pittsburgh.
A team that was decimated by injuries all season. Columbus could be a sleeper given the fact that they are finally healthy. Tyler Lewington, he's an Edmonton native. He would love nothing more than to have round 3 in his backyard. Back down now behind the net toward Michael Kempney. 8 games of NHL experience if Lewington is among the guys to go. TJ Oshie ahead of the blue line and out of Backstrom, centered up here and toward the top of the goal crease, only to be broken up. And here comes Team Red as it is fired in. Daniel Sprong is the one that deflects it up and out of play. It's not quite Hershey v. Washington. It has that kind of feel to it this afternoon. But one guy on the other side, Vogues, who will in all likelihood see time in Hershey at some point, and then no doubt on to Washington, and that's Connor McMichael after a monster season with the London Knights. He gets a chance to participate in this camp, and boy, did he earn it.
Yeah, he did. He had a fabulous season in the Ontario Hockey League last year with London, and, he's ineligible to play at the American League level if there is a season there in 2020-21. So he would probably, if he doesn't crack the Caps roster as it stands now, he'd be headed back to London. Though, you know what? I mean, maybe you park him in the Swiss League or something for a year.
McMichael had 102 points in 52 games for Dale Hunter in London. I think he's proven all he needs to prove there.
Yeah, exactly. I think he'd probably be better served playing against older competition, the Swiss League, Swedish League, somewhere in Europe maybe.
Icing call here and a faceoff back in front of Braden Holtby. Braden, who was denied a chance to get back to the 30-win plateau. He was trying to do it for the 6th consecutive season. 25 victories, what he came up with. He finished the regular season having won 4 of his last 6, but limited to only 48 games of work after the season was paused after 69 games played for Washington. To center and off of Siegenthaler. Ilya Kovalchuk on the counter. Brings it ahead to Travis Boyd. Drops the shoulder and forced in behind the net by Siegenthaler. And the play starting from behind the net. Back and now after the turnover that came off of Ponick, Travis Boyd with the big team for most of the year, but didn't play a lot. Back down now into the corner. And picked up along the near board. Boyd was a healthy scratch for the last 10 games before the pause. Only played in 24 this season, but by and large, Mike, he was in the NHL and just a small handful of games in Hershey along the way.
Yeah, and he's a guy that may be thrust into the forefront here before too long. Lars Eller's wife about to give birth to their second child here sometime in the next few weeks. So good chance that Lars is going to have to duck out for a while. And I think Travis is probably the guy that they're looking at to fill that slot in Lars's absence.
Todd Reardon had made mention of that along the way as the shot rings in off the stick of Ratko Gudas. A save made by Vitek Vanacek with 8:29 to go here in the first period. Still without a goal. Team Red versus Team White. A tune-up, a practice, and then it is off to Toronto. And Mike, you and I were talking about before getting on air here about bubble life. And for these guys, this is, listen, a road trip normally, a game, a 2-game, the 3-game trip the Capitals had right before we were on the road for 5 days?
Yeah.
Longest in my career I've ever done is 14. You said you had a 16 at some point.
Yeah.
You're doing 16 before you even really get into the first round very far, right?
Yeah, really.
Who knows how long this will be?
You got to pack for somewhere between 4 and 10 weeks.
I don't have a suitcase in my arsenal that has that.
Yeah, good luck with that. Right? I'd like to see Dale Hunter pack for this trip. Guy who typically just stuck a toothbrush in his shirt pocket for a road trip.
He might pack a couple of pairs of socks and a couple of shirts, and it's serious now.
Right. I mean, the other interesting aspect of all this is you're going to have some back-to-back games in the playoffs, and typically that's a pretty arduous situation. The difference here is there's no travel involved in those back-to-backs. You think about the way a 7-game series can play out and all the travel, especially in the back half of that series, all that's alleviated now. So there's so many different wrinkles and factors that are going to be different. Who knows how they're going to play out. I just think that it could be a lot of fun watching this, and I think we're all looking forward to having hockey on from noon to midnight. That first round should be a real smorgasbord after months and months without live sports.
Kenny Kuznetsov working the referee a little bit there, and Reed Cashman, a conversation going on. A puck that drops, and it's kicked out of the zone by Alex Ovechkin. A push ahead, and the dump in now by the guys in red. Michael Kempney able to get to it quicker than Garnet Hathaway did. Lead pass ahead and just beyond Alex Ovechkin. Reed Cashman putting on his linesman uniform, throws the arm in the air, and an icing call. The Capitals have no idea after 3 games who they could see in round 1. This is truly, if you are a coaching staff, this is a huge challenge that normally you've got an idea as you go down the stretch. It could be this team, it could be this team. You're planning for maybe 3 or 4. You could see anybody in round 1 if you're Washington or any of the other top 4.
Absolutely, and I think that's part of the attraction to this too. That I'm glad they did away with the bracket for this. I think it makes more sense anyway. I think it should be gone. They should get rid of it permanently. I liked it better the 1 through 8 and reseed, but I think it's one of the things that's going to add to the mystique this time around.
Dmitry Orlov taking a pass from Alex Ovechkin, fed on ahead to TJ Oshie. He'll follow the bouncing puck in behind Braden Holtby. Long to Ovechkin. A pass to Orlov. Center point. Rings it off the dasher board and sends it in behind the net through Oshie. Battled for in the corner. Backstrom able to stick it away, but Brendan Dillon had already exited the zone. The reset now in neutral ice. We get down towards 7 minutes to go here in the first period. Still looking for our first goal. So kudos to Team Red for hanging in there at this point. As a puck coming back near side. Team Red does have Braden Holtby, and that certainly is not a terrible thing for them back there. Puck goes up and out of play. If you were wondering or just need a refresher at this point, the other in the qualifying round, who is playing whom? Pittsburgh, the 5 seed in the East. They'll be playing Montreal. Carolina getting the New York Rangers. That is a 6 versus 11 matchup. The New York Islanders and the Florida Panthers head-to-head. That's a 7-10. And maybe the most intriguing of them all, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Columbus Blue Jackets. I mean, just add John Tortorella. You're going to have some fun right there. But you know what? That series, with that kind of attention being paid to it, that might be a whole lot of fun to watch.
In Toronto to boot. Yep, totally agree.
Orlov at a punch at it on the right side and leaving it there for Oshie. It's forced out of the zone. It is eerie to be in a nearly empty building. A few media folks here. As a shot here from Daniel Sprong that gets in and scores against Vanacek right down below us. Sprong letting that go from the right circle. And with 6:26 left there, Ovechkin looking at Reed Cashman and seemingly asking the question, but it looked like that puck through.
Johnny, it was offside.
Oh, they're going to call it back.
That's what he was barking about. Looked offside to me.
And
we don't have the benefit of a replay, but I would swear that play was offside.
So Daniel Sprong.
But that was a heck of a shot. You saw what Sprong can do. Oh, looks like we might have an overrule here.
They're going to say offside, and it looks
totally
like the goal would come off the board.
That's the right call. That was a great shot by Sprong.
The goal comes off the board. Daniel Sprong just that close.
Yep, that was the right call.
Alex Ovechkin working the ref and Reed Cashman making the change. Looks like that dialogue continuing over on the bench.
Well, like we said, he's one guy trying to do the job of 4.
Richard Panik in what once again is a scoreless first period. Out to Kempney at center. Eller charging ahead of the red line. Dumped in right wing board. Nick Dowd coming back and sending it around to the near board. And this puck going all the way down. That will be an icing call. Bring the faceoff back in front of Holtby with 5:50 remaining here in the first period. In the West, the first round in the qualifying round, that is, Edmonton taking on the Chicago Blackhawks. That is a 5 versus 12. Nashville and Arizona, 6 versus 11. Our buddy Dean Evison taking over the Minnesota Wild. And since we have been away, the interim tag taken off. He's now the head coach there, the 10 seed. The Minnesota Wild taking on number 7 Vancouver and Calgary Winnipeg, which should be a fun one. That the 8-9 in the West. Face-off controlled and sent around and down ice. Going to play on after the clear. Carlson with a puck. And ahead now to center. Officially a Norris Trophy finalist. And he better win the thing as the puck comes in on Holtby and covered up here. But Roman Josi, as good a year as he had, I may be with a little bias on our side, Vogues, but I got to believe that number 74, the best chance he will have. And I certainly think a lot of the national talk that you hear, I think a lot of people think he's going to be the guy.
I think he had a fantastic season. He's certainly deserving of the nomination of finishing in the top 3. And I would give him the nod. I don't have a vote, but to me, I think he should be the guy. You know, Team Red's held their own here, Johnny. Like you said earlier, scoreless game, and they haven't had a lot of, they haven't been hemmed in their D zone or too much.
No, they've carried a decent amount of the play. Team Red has got Richard Panik, Nick Dowd, and Garnet Hathaway left to right. And then you've got an assortment of mostly Hershey Bears. Beck Malenstein, Connor McMichael, and Daniel Sprong. Shane Gersich on a line with Phil Maillet and Brian Pino. Garrett Pilon is over there as well. They have, for the most part, more than held their own here. Siegenthaler and Jensen, their top pair. Faravari and Gudis, and Alex Alexiev is there too. Faravari, 56 games for Hershey this season after 1 point in 6 games with the Caps. Well, most of those coming in the early part of the season, which I got to tell you, feels like it was about 10 years ago at this point.
Yeah, it does.
Draw coming in, and everything they're trying to replicate here, including the television timeout that wasn't. Right. We just kept going. Yeah. But if you want to know what the pause was there, that's what it is. You're making this as much to real conditions as you can, and that even includes the start time today of 4 o'clock, folks, because of what they're going to be having once they get to Toronto.
You got a 4 o'clock start coming up on Wednesday against Carolina, as you mentioned earlier, and you could have a few of those in the weeks ahead.
4 o'clock also against Tampa Bay. That Boston game on the schedule, they're still getting figured out just because for national television purposes, NBC will have that, but depending on how the first round plays out and what series are going and are not, that game could be in prime time. It could be in the afternoon. We will have to wait and see. Puck goes out of play here with just over 5 minutes to go in the first period. Braden Holtby going to have a face-off to his left.
Speaking of live sports being back, you got Twins White Sox later on tonight.
Yes, I was wondering if that was going to make it into the broadcast today. White Sox improved there. Oshie's chance going up and high off the glass. They're going to say out of play.
On paper, they should be the best they've been in the last decade or so, but
it's awfully good to see the Nationals get back at it and live sports. And this is, I think, a little bit as we are here and live. We will not be making the trip to Toronto on the broadcast side. We'll be bringing it to you off the monitors back here in Washington and doing it from downtown D.C. But the view, and when you have a game of this caliber going on and you don't have any fans in the stands, a shot here from Jacob Brana that goes wide, it is eerie to say the least. Taken here by Oshie, and as the pass comes to Tyler Lewington. Lewington leaving it along the boards, good pressure, and Alexiev forcing Backstrom out toward the blue line. Puck ahead for Team Red. Gersich always with good wheels, he does. Number 63 in red, turning it over and getting to the corner. Gersich has NHL speed without question, is looking for more offensive numbers in Hershey. A little bit better this year as he got to double digits. Back ahead now as it is sent in toward Michael Kempney, rattled away from Vanacek. And toward Hagelin behind the net. Eller coming right up the middle. He's got Kovalchuk with him. Kovalchuk had some videos of his workouts during the pause. This guy is motivated to win, and had not having done so and now with the opportunity to do it, he looks pretty dialed in and ready to go.
I agree with you, Johnny. And, your cohort, Ben Ravy, was talking a lot the last couple of days about the physicality we saw from Kovalchuk in those 5 or 6 games. He really looked invested. This is a guy people forget. He had a run to the Stanley Cup final with the New Jersey Devils back in 2012 when they lost to Los Angeles. But Kovalchuk has gone those 4 rounds. I think he's pretty hungry, and he looks it. It's a pretty good addition for Washington.
Bottom 6 for this team, and you forget because it happened a while ago now, but post-trade deadline, Richard Panik getting bumped down to the 4th line with great results there. Ilya Kovalchuk sidling in on the right side of line 3, and the Capitals go into this tournament looking pretty sharp. We got a delayed penalty coming up here, and our first power play, a hold is the motion from Reed Cashman.
It's going to put Team Red on the power play, I think.
A chance here for not only the guys dressed in red to be able to have an offensive chance here going 5-on-4. But for the penalty killers, look, all practice is good practice at this point as you get ready for this.
Here comes Eller, Hagelin, Dillon, and Orlov. Those are your top penalty killers for the varsity squad. I didn't see who went to the box.
Taken here by Eller. And as he tried to clear, it is kept in. Richard Ponick passed down in front. Connor McMichael trying to center to Pino. That's going to rattle down ice. Faravari's the first one back. Circling in behind Braden Holtby, 5-on-4. As the puck carried along here, Hagelin will take it back and push it back down into the corner. Penalty killers changing up. Orlov sending it ahead and up the right side. Holtby making the stop. Down to 2:30 to go here in the first period. Daniel Sprong had a goal taken off the board for Team Red. Otherwise, we have not seen any red lights. Carried in now by the penalty killers. Boyd centered up and just behind Carlson. The counter coming quickly here for Team Red. Brian Pino sending it along left side. Sprong on the backhand. In front of Pino. They score. Pino picked it up and deflected it in. Not off his stick, but off his body. And with 2:08 to go here in the first period, Team Red taking a 1-0 lead.
That was a pretty good counterpunch by Team Red there because Team White had a 2-on-1 on the PK, and the pass went a little bit awry. John Carlson looking for a one-timer, and the puck wasn't where he needed it to be, so the shot never materialized, and here came Team Red, and they cashed in. Nice play by Sprong behind the net.
Pino, the Massachusetts native, was a 20-goal scorer for the first time this year with Hershey. He was easily their most improved player as a second chance goes up and out of play, just missing at open net, Phil Maillet. But Pino the year before, in his first year pro, had 4 goals coming out of Providence College, and you go from 4 to 20, the 6th-round pick in 2013, now getting an opportunity to play against the big boys here.
Yeah, Pino and Pilon both had pretty good jumps there in their second pro years. That's exactly what you like to see. That it can be a little overwhelming to step right from NCAA into the AHL. Certainly a learning curve.
Pilon, to Voges' thought on that, 18 goals in 61 games before the AHL season shut down. Incidentally, the AHL not awarding the Calder Cup for the first time in league history, and that includes every year during World War II.
Wow.
But they couldn't do it this year because of COVID-19. Gersich back in behind the net. You want to know how hard this undertaking is. Without all of the safeguards and protocols that the NHL, the NBA, Major League Baseball have put in place. This is the biggest undertaking in the history of the National Hockey League, and I don't think it's even close. Back down to Gersich in behind the net. The Capitals are going to get themselves ready for it and looking for their second Stanley Cup in 3 years. Here comes Hathaway down in front. The move, he scores! Garnet Hathaway putting it through the legs of Vitek Vanacek. And Team Red's got a 2-0 lead.
Put a power move to the net and just threw it between the 5-hole there. Team Red with a couple of late tallies here in what is essentially the first of 2 periods. So much for that lopsided roster.
Yeah, doing pretty well at the moment. Team Red with a 2-0 lead. Garnet Hathaway, 9 goals during the regular season in 66 games, the last of which coming at Madison Square Garden in the first game of a 3-game road trip. Remember what road trips used to be like?
For whatever reason, Johnny, that last trip, that run from New York to Pittsburgh to Buffalo, pretty much everything about it is so freshly ingrained in my head. And really, even that Minnesota-Winnipeg trip before it, we spent a lot of time on the road there toward the end of what turned out to be the end of the season. And for some reason, it all seems like yesterday in my head as far as what we did, where we ate, all that kind of stuff. But
well, you don't have anything to override it at this point.
Exactly.
And probably won't for some time.
It's frozen.
Shot in from the blue line. Gudis able to sneak that through, and Vanacek held on to it long enough. Hathaway had 11 goals with Calgary last season. That was a season high. You wonder if he had had a few more games to play with, if he would have been able to get to that number. He was only 2 short.
He was right there. If you project his numbers, it's almost an identical season, I think.
Brought back into the zone by Malenstein. NHL debut came November 22nd in New York. There for Kovalchuk, who will fire it in, and a bit of an eye-opener here, but Team Red with a 2-0 lead at the end of one period as a couple of quick goals happening, including the latest from Garnet Hathaway. So a chance for the varsity to have the penalty kill worked out a little bit, and now Vogue's getting ready for the second here in just a little bit.
Yep, I think both teams acquitted themselves fine there in the first. It was a lot of back and forth. Like you said, there weren't too many shifts where either side got hemmed in. So I think Todd Reardon's probably seen for the most part what he would like to see from his guys. Certainly Team Red definitely more than held their own. And, just going back to Hathaway for a second, one of the things I think that's flying under the radar here for the Caps as they get ready to go up to the Bubble City. Last year, going into the Stanley Cup playoffs, even though they were trying to repeat and they had a team that was largely still together from winning the Cup in 2018, but they did have a handful of guys in Nick Dowd, Nick Jensen, one or two others who hadn't experienced the Stanley Cup playoffs previously. I think it's always a little tricky when you've got a few guys on your roster who don't know what to expect until they're out there and in it. But you look at this roster this year, and Hathaway's the guy that made me think of it. He got his first taste with Calgary last year. I cannot remember a time going into the playoffs when every single guy on the Washington roster had playoff experience. The other thing, when you look at it, that the top 7 scored, there's been obviously a lot of turnover on this team since they won the Cup. But the top 7 scorers from the 2018 playoffs are all still here. All 7 of them, and they don't include Jacob Vrana. They don't include Ilya Kovalchuk. They don't include Richard Panik. So, like you said, that bottom 6, as long as your top 6 holds its own, I don't think offense is going to be a problem for this team up there. It's going to be how does Braden Holtby play? How do those 6 defense play? Can Orlov handle the right side? Those are the things we're going to be looking at.
End of one period, 2-0 Team Red. Leidos is all caps all the way, and we're the proud presenting sponsor for today's scrimmage. At Leidos, our mission is to make the world safer and healthier and more efficient through IT, engineering, and science. To learn more, visit Leidos.com. That's Leidos.com. Second period coming up in just a little bit here at MedStar Capitals Iceplex. John Walton and Mike Vogel back with you here for the start of the second period at MedStar Capitals Iceplex. This Caps inter-squad scrimmage, the all-caps scrimmage presented by Leidos. Leidos is all caps all the way, and we're the proud presenting sponsor for today's scrimmage. At Leidos, our mission is to make the world safer, healthier, and more efficient through IT, engineering, and science. To learn more, visit Leidos.com. That's Leidos.com. A look at Alex Ovechkin there. What does he have in the tank for another deep postseason run? He certainly looked motivated, Vogues, during the pause. When you've got your trainer living with you, we should have tried that, by the way. Have her, when the gym closes up, just bring it into your house. Why not? He certainly seems ready for another deep run.
I've actually been doing that for years, Johnny. My trainer is he doubles as my invisible friend. So he's been living with me for a long time. I'm not getting the results that Ovi's getting, though.
Pretty good look at Alex there. A bit of a surprise in the first period insofar that Team Blue, which is in the white uniforms on your screen, are pretty well the top 3 lines and the top 2 D pairs going along with what was Vitek Vanacek in the first period. This second period, it will be Phoenix Copley. Copley with a handful of NHL experience, almost all of it coming with Washington after a trade with St. Louis, and he is back and will be defending the net for Team Blue here in this second period.
Vanacek gave up a couple of goals late there in that first frame, and like you said, Johnny Copley was the backup here in the 18-19 season, got a fair amount of work as Braden Holtby's understudy, and then with the emergence of Ilya Samsonov last year. They had to kind of park Copley at Hershey, and he wound up spending the whole season there.
So the second period underway. A reminder, this is a 10-minute period. They will switch ends in 10 minutes. And then the third will be 10 as well. So we are more than halfway through this inter-squad scrimmage as Team Blue with a chance from Carlson. In for the blue line, Kuznetsov turns and gets a shot blocked by Nick Dowd. Braden Holtby going all the way in this one, as you would expect. Would imagine he would get the exhibition game 2 against Carolina, but that remains to be seen. We'll find out with you come Wednesday. That game can be seen on NBC Sports Washington. It can be heard on the Capitals radio network on 1500 a.m. The Nats are going to be playing, so we're going to bump over to 1500 a.m., but we will have the exhibition for you live and on the air coming up on Wednesday in addition to Caps Radio 24/7. Oshie with a puck, goes cross ice here. Orlov forcing it through, and Holtby watching it slide wide into the corner. Around to Backstrom. We should tell you in the round robin tournament, the games on the radio side will be on 106.7 The Fan per usual. And the first 2 games going to be on NBC Sports Washington, national NBC for that Boston game. Everybody excited and ready for games. I want to tell you where you can find it so you don't have to be searching. Picked up now by Malenstein. 2-0 Team Red. A pass ahead to Connor McMichael who looked to dangle around Nick Backstrom, and Nick said not today. Ahead now to Oshie. Into the zone, leaves it, and a shot fired there off by Jacob Brana. And up into Braden Holtby and a stop with 8:15 to go in the second. You were talking about Phoenix Copley. This year in Hershey, pretty good year. In fact, both goalies. Vanacek was 19-10-1 and an AHL All-Star. Copley was 17-8-6 for the Chocolate and White after winning 16 games for the Capitals back in the 18-19 season. 29 career NHL games, all but 2 of them here.
It seemed like they split that the Hershey net mining chores pretty evenly between those 2 guys as well.
Spencer Carberry had that team for a second straight year humming down the stretch, and it's just a shame that they didn't get a chance to see what they could do in postseason play, because after Thanksgiving, that team among the very best in the American League.
Yeah, they were, and they were really playing well defensively. They didn't score a lot of goals, but the addition of Sprong was a little bit tantalizing in that regard too. That you're able to pick up a guy who you could plug right into your top 6 at that level, but he only got a couple of games in.
See Alexeyev with a puck, number 27 ahead now to Maillet. Alexeyev in his first year with the Bears, 21 points in 58 games. Native of St. Petersburg, Russia. Back down now into the Team Red zone. Jensen got a hit in the corner from Wilson. Siegenthaler circled in behind the net and will push this ahead to center ice. Off the stick there of Maillet. Back past Orlov. Copley stick handling it behind the goal. Just over 7 minutes to go. Middle period here. Caps inter-squad scrimmage presented by Leidos. A 2-0 Team Red lead. Siegenthaler tried to advance it up the wall. Had it taken away. And here comes Travis Boyd. A pass that finds Ovechkin. Alex getting it on net. Holtby making a pad save. Siegenthaler able to roll this back up to center. Pilon chasing after it. And Dmitry Orlov going to come back in front of his goaltender. Leave it there for Ovechkin. Saucered out to the middle. It was intended for Backstrom, but instead knocked down by Team Red. And here comes Jensen. In along the board. Centering attempt to Pilon will be deflected away. Faravari had to hold off a hard-charging TJ Oshie, but now left side and Backstrom in front, and a shot in on Holtby. Oshie going high. Glove save made by number 70 with 6:13 to go here in the second period.
The white sweatered bunch generating a little more offense here this period. The first shift was primarily an offensive zone shift, and you're starting to see Team Red, too, just dump a couple of pucks in. A little bit of road hockey here. Protect that 2-0 lead.
There's going to be a whole lot of road hockey coming up here soon. Nick Backstrom on the draw, going to start next season just 44 games short of 1,000 in his NHL career. 54 points in 61 games before the pause. And after taking that draw, we'll slide in again, this time against Connor McMichael. One back to the blue line. Back toward Oshie along the near side. Occurred to me this is the second time in my broadcasting career that the guys on the ice can hear what we are saying. It happened one other time when I was in Hershey. Dawned on me as we were talking about the draw, they're only about 12 feet away from us in a deadly silent building. Yeah. A shot fired here. We had a game in Cleveland a bunch of years ago when the Barons weren't drawing anybody, and the attendance for the game was 256.
Yikes.
And the broadcast booth was 4 rows back of the bench, and they heard everything that we were saying, including the game-winning goal. Going to be a lot like that every game now. Picked up by Garrett Pilon and fired in on net. Covered up here by Phoenix Copley. 5:13 to go in the second period. 2-0 Team Red.
Yeah, it's going to be, none of us really knows what to expect. We're all going to be experiencing it at the same time. You know, Johnny, I was talking about this yesterday. Couple of years before the Caps won the Cup, 2018, they really had those bad beats to Pittsburgh in the playoffs. Talked to those guys after losing those series to a man. They're all like, man, I wish we could just get right back at it and not have to play the whole 82 games to get back and atone for this. Well, this is sort of like that now.
Loose for Gersic in front. Went to the backhand and a save made by Phoenix Copley. Gersic with a charge to the net, and Copley wise to that as we get down to 4:52 to go here in the second period. 2-0 Team Red. It should be noted among all of the things that came out of the return to play agreement, the NHL and the NHLPA agreed on July 10th to a new collective bargaining agreement that will take us through the 2025-2026 season. And while we have the TV timeout that isn't Vogue's, there have been a lot of times through the course of, well, half our lives that labor peace and the NHL have not been synonymous. But between Gary Bettman and Donald Fehr, the players, the owners, this was just a terrific thing in the middle of all of the things going on in the world to be able to put differences aside and find a way to get a deal done and know that they have labor peace through 2026. That is maybe the best news we have heard during this whole pandemic.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question, Johnny. I think it's the best thing to come out of the pandemic for the NHL, that extension of the CBA. Having lived through a few lockouts, I wasn't looking forward to another one, but I was sort of halfway expecting another one, and now to have that at least deferred until the back half of the decade is pretty exciting, I think, and it's great for the fans, too. They're the ones who always suffer.
And good to know that that won't be an issue for a long time to come. Face off to the right here of Phoenix Copley. Copley and Vanacek sharing the duties. Braden Holtby in net. And going the distance for Team Red. Nick Dowd sliding in for the face-off. And awaiting the drop of the puck from Reed Cashman. Come on, Reed. There we go. Back down now to center for Alexeyev and across toward Richard Panik. Backhanded down from Siegenthaler. Working the puck around pretty good, but now a pass picked off. Off to the races and skating with it, Carl Hagelin. Pulls up at the blue line and then turned it over to Panik. Good poke check by Siegenthaler to send it away from the hot zone, and now back to Hagelin at the half boards. Alexeyev holding on to him. Back low for Siegenthaler. Will scoot in behind his own net. Away now is Alexeyev trying to put it ahead. Left it for Dowd instead, and now the puck turned over. Carlson into Kovalchuk. Dropped it between his legs to Weller, and couldn't quite get the shot away. A little razzle-dazzle here in the inner squad. Away now and room for Panik. Kempney's got to get back. Panik just teeing one up and a save made by Copley. There wasn't anybody around Panik in the closest area code, but he gets up to the circle and lets it fly. Copley holds on with 3:59 to go here in the second period.
Team Red taking advantage of a defense to create some offense there. They pulled the puck right off of Holtby's pads and broke it out. Nice play by Hathaway to do that and get it to Panik for the opportunity.
If you join us late, the goals in this one, Brian Pino and Garnet Hathaway. First period tallies for Team Red. And the stacked lineup that is Team Blue, still looking for their first of the afternoon here. John Walton and Mike Vogel with you at MedStar Capitals Iceplex, Arlington, Virginia. This inter-squad matchup as Ovechkin taking a centering pass. Comes off a Holtby and now the quick outlet from Allenstein. Team Red is playing with some purpose here. Back down in front. You're given a big task. You want to rise to it. They have so far.
Yeah, Holtby hasn't had to make too many impressive saves. He had that glove stop on Oshie from the high slot. Well, that's really the only one that stands out.
Faravari got dinged in the corner by Brendan Dillon. Big pass ahead. Tom Wilson takes control. Wilson across to Ovechkin, just inside the blue line. A pass that is turned over and given to Brian Pino. Maillet with some speed coming after Kempney, but that is going to be an icing call with 2:53 left here in the second period. What's the matchup you're looking forward to seeing in the East? Anything at Carolina Rangers? I know we talked about Toronto Columbus, but a couple of fast skating teams in that one, too.
I mean, definitely Toronto, Columbus. But, yeah, I'm anxious to see that Carolina Rangers series for sure. Rangers had their number this year. I think they beat them all 4 games. So, yeah, I'm definitely interested to see that. And like you mentioned, Carolina's going to have Dougie Hamilton back in the lineup. And, they made some additions to that blue line at the deadline with Vatanen and what was it, Brady Shea that they picked up as well.
Penalty here, a slashing call is the motion. And Team Red going to be down 1. Team Blue will have a chance here on the power play for the first time today.
They got a chance to cut into that lead, and I hope he could be busy here. We'll see. It's like Jensen and Siegenthaler and Dowd and Hathaway for Red, killing the penalty.
Oshie down, wins the draw, feeds it to Carlson. He slides to center point, gives it now to Backstrom. Low to the side of the net, Kuznetsov. Evgeny now looking for Oshie in the bumper, and he can't get it to him. It is instead deflected away, but not out of the zone. Nick Dowd nearly had it cleared, but couldn't do it. Now to Kuznetsov, out of the corner. Or Jensen behind the net. Hathaway will easily clear, and puck played by Phoenix Copley. Minute 30 to go on the penalty. The slash is on Brian Pino. And a puck carried back at center ice. Kuznetsov in the number 1 power play unit for Washington. Picked up now and beyond Carlson and down ice. Copley again. Now it's Carlson, as always, quarterbacking the first unit. We'll spin it back. Back towards center, and some speed now as it is rifled in along the far side by Jacob Vrana. Back toward Orlov. Vrana coming along, and then a poke check by Panik. Going to send it back out, and again the reset for power play 1. 45 seconds left in the power play here. Centered up in front and kicked out by Holtby after the shot from Wilson. Panik will clear and roll it up ice.
That was an impressive stop. Got that left pad on that one.
Toughest stop that Braden has had to make in this one. Not overly tested, but it stopped everything so far. A shot here wide off the stick of Vrana. Kovalchuk on the second unit with Orlov. Ovechkin hangs around. Vrana and Wilson do as well. Wilson shoveling it out to Kovalchuk. Ilya Kovalchuk now to Vrana in front. Looked for like he was thinking bank shot and couldn't get all of it. Gudas tried to clear it up the middle, and it stays in. 2 seconds and 1. Power play is over. Pino is back on. It has been killed off. So Team Blue can't find their first goal of the day on the power play either. With now 33 seconds left in this abbreviated second period. Still 2-0 Team Red. Back along at center for Eller, and now a whistle and a too many men on the ice. Listen, here's Reed Cashman justice here. A bench minor for too many men on the ice. You can't slip something by Reed now. You can't do that. He nails him on the bench, and it'll be a power play for Team Red.
He is the long arm of the law right now.
Oh, my goodness. Called it right away.
Judge Roy Bean.
Bench minor. Put that one on the bingo card. The draw coming up to the right of Copley. So a power play, and Reeder's Team Red trying to extend its lead now. Sprong can't keep it in, and now a shorthanded rush. And here comes Team Blue, cutting to the front of the net. Lars Heller with a misfire. Got it back to the blue line. Sent on a cross here. And to center point, Lewington, and he gets a shot away, just wide of Holtby. Going blocker side. And Lewington is going to blast this one in. Little bit of wind underneath that as the horn sounds and the end of the second period, and a slight bit of comedy as well as we have the third ahead. A power play for 1:36 for Team Red to start the final period. And again, it'll be 10 minutes in length, and the boys will call it a day.
That one looked like a field goal attempt, trying to throw it through the uprights there.
Yeah, it definitely did. It looked like
it's a three-pointer.
Yeah, they have Mark Mosley teeing one up or something. Yeah, absolutely. 10 minutes remain here at MedStar Capitals Iceplex. Leidos is all caps all the way, and they are the proud presenting sponsor for today's scrimmage. At Leidos, their mission is to make the world safer, healthier, and more efficient through IT, engineering, and science. To learn more, visit Leidos.com. That's LEIDOS.com. What do you want to see out of Team White here in this last 10 minutes before they have one practice and then depart for the Great White North?
Well, let's see how they respond to the adversity of a 2-0 deficit, Johnny, right? And they're down a guy here for the first minute 30, so the cards are stacked against them. Let's see what they have here.
Feel like they've got the cast of characters on that side to be able to put it together.
They could erupt for a 3-spot pretty quickly, but I think killing off this 90 seconds left on the too many dudes call on Ocho there in the penalty box.
Cashman Justice is swift but fair. He drops the puck to begin the third period. Kempney will dump it LA to center ice. Team Red backs it up. And now as the puck comes along at center, 5-on-4 for 1:15. Across the blue line is Phil Maillet. He'll leave it there for Garrett Pilon. Pilon spins away from the left hash. Down to Maillet in a corner, turned it over, gave it away to Hagelin. Here come the penalty killers. It is Zeller. Now to Carlson. Across the blue line to Hagelin. He'll sweep it back to the front, only to have it taken away. And as Team Red will saucer this out to center ice. Faravari leaving it back for Gersic, but a little behind. Shane will have to go back and get it. 40 seconds left. And a penalty to Alex Ovechkin. Serving the bench minor for too many men. The Red penalty killers, or the Red power play rather, changing. And brought in ahead now on the wall by Nick Dowd. Around and out of the zone. Alexiev back. He skates alongside Nick Jensen. 15 seconds remaining in the power play. Crossing into the offensive zone. Hathaway, who's got a goal in this one. In fact, the most recent goal coming late in the first period. Back toward the blue line. Jensen picked up along the right side for Travis Boyd. And now to Warlov near side with 8:23 to go here in the third period. 2-0 Team Red. Now coming on to center, Ovechkin getting a hard wrister away, saved by Holtby. And the rebound squibs to the corner. Jensen battling for it and doing so against Travis Boyd. Back onto the right wing side and to Dillon. Steps in from the point. Leaving it there for TJ Oshie. Oshie, one hand, then two on a stick. Brings it across the blue line, drops it off in the circle. Now to Ovechkin. Ovechkin centering attempt through Oshie. Does not result in a shot on net. And back down to center as Panik will take it away for Team Red. 7.5 minutes to go. Picked up by Radko Gudas. As it came out to the front of the net, Orlov circles away, looks for Vrana. Pass to the middle, broken up by Malenstein. And a little bit of room for Team Red again into the offensive zone. Connor McMichael on this line. To Pino in the corner. He's been noticeable in this one. Blue line here to Siegenthaler. He was eyeing up McMichael all the way, but couldn't connect with a pass along the side of the net. Mallenstein now takes over. Team Red continuing to get chances. This shot in from the outside, held on to by Copley with 6:56 to go.
Pretty good shift there by Team Red, and you saw Connor McMichael deliver a body check to Nick Backstrom along the wall there.
You know, I don't know that I have ever been so happy to have a headset on in my whole life as I am today. It's been a long time.
I will second that.
Just being back at the rink and watching these guys.
The last 10 days have been a tonic for a lot of us to be here and see hockey again and see the guys, even though we're not allowed to have any contact with them or talk to them or anything. It's very, very social distant here at the Plex.
The media here, we are up in the balcony for those who are familiar, and this is the area afforded us and other media folk. Back down now for Michael Kempney behind the net. Team Red looking to clear away, and it is stopped there by Lewington, and now behind the net. Side of the goal, looking out for Kovalchuk in front. And Red with a takeaway. The game may not count for anything other than a practice and a warm-up, or a prelude to a warm-up, if you will, but just seeing all of the familiar names, even if they are just skating against one another, it is certainly a step toward normalcy that we all can appreciate.
Good for what ails you.
Hathaway able to dump it in along the near side. Less than 6 minutes to go here in the third period. Cleared up the middle and now to Wilson. Wilson along the left side. Gets to the corner. Centers up there. Blocked away nicely by Siegenthaler. Nick down. Ahead now to center ice. Carried on by Hathaway. Looks to get a step on Carlson, and that did not work. John taking him right into the back dasher. Around now to Nick Jensen. Jensen from behind the goal. Gets away from Ovechkin. Red spending a lot of time in the offensive zone here in this third and final period of 10 minutes. Big pass ahead. And a step there by Pana getting around Orlov in a nifty move, but couldn't get the shot away at the finish. Now out to Orlov as Dimitri will skate with it. Brought in now along the far wing into Radko Gudas. Gudas got a hit on the back wall. Team Blue looking to make something happen. Back in the middle for Oshie. Can't get the shot through. Vrana now with a chance, and a save made by Holtby as Jake, coming off a career high in goals, gets a chance here with 4:44 remaining in the third period. 2 goals in his last 19, but a career high, Vogues, in 25, including his first career hat trick and a win over Calgary back on November 3rd. It was an uneven year for Jake, but when you set a career high, it's still a pretty good year, and the sky's still the limit for him.
And the type of player he is, I think, it may lend himself to a little bit of streakiness. He may have those stretches where he goes 8 or 10 without finding the back of the net, but he's also going to have those stretches where he pots you 9 or 10 goals in 9 or 10 games. Not unlike Peter Bondra, really, over the course of his career, and I think certainly, like you said, career year for Jake, but I think there's still a lot of ceiling to where he can go. There's no reason this guy can't score 30, maybe 40 goals in this league. He really works hard. He's one of the last guys off the ice after practice every day. He's another similarity to Peter Bondra, too.
A lot of guys for Team Red have been impressive in this one. Beck Mallenstein among them, skating alongside Connor McMichael and Daniel Sprong. Mallenstein, 7 goals, 15 points in 46 games with Hershey this season, a 5th-round pick in 2016. We remember his debut at MSG in New York, and it's about as memorable a building as you can have to make your NHL debut. Got a couple of other games in along the way. He's been good today.
He had a breakaway in the first period of that game at MSG, too. Almost scored his first NHL goal that night. But, yeah, he's been impressive here today. He was in the second penalty. He was one of the second 2 forwards over the boards when Red was a man short. Defense for Team Red has been solid today. The Gudas-Feravari pairing has been good.
So inside of the final 5 minutes here. 2 goals late in the first period for Team Red. That has been it. We'll see if that holds once Team Blue has an opportunity here in the closing few minutes. Big guys on here with Backstrom coming to the near side. Carlson comes in for the Blue. Battled near the half boards. And Faravari away with a puck, and he'll skate behind the net. Ahead to the aforementioned Mallenstein. Got stopped there by Carlson, lifted by Gudis. And lobs one in toward Copley that comes away off the goal pads, loose in front. There's Mallenstein on a backhander that gets knocked down. Carlson back into the near board. And now Kempney controlling. Backhanded ahead, Nick Backstrom looking for Vrana. Jake with a little room to move, coming to the left corner. Left at far side, Red takes over. Time running short for the varsity, down 2-0 here. Brendan Dillon starting. At physical presence. The reason the Caps went and got him from San Jose. Playoff experience, been to a Stanley Cup final, did that with the Sharks. Had some playoff experience. His first taste of the Stanley Cup playoffs with the Dallas Stars. He will now be with his third team in postseason play once the Capitals get to round 1. Stanley Cup qualifiers first. Round robin for the Caps. An exhibition game at Scotiabank Arena in Toronto coming up on Wednesday. 4 o'clock start. TV on NBC Sports Washington. Radio on 1500 AM on WFED here in D.C. And during the day, that signal booms. You can hear that just about anywhere around here. We'll have it for you. Back now for Orlov at 2:45 left here. And a 2-0 lead. Toward Wilson along the near side. And Backstrom along the near board. Folks, we usually spend time getting ready, heading downstairs when the game is over, and post-game scrums, something you and I have been a part of for years, and I miss those.
I miss those too. Yeah, we're not going to be doing that. Even the last couple that we did do were a little bit of the, that was our first indication that things weren't quite.
Buffalo was really that first time where it was like the morning was different and they separated, and that was talked to Todd that night, and then the world went a little crazy on us.
You know what else I remember about that night? As we were walking out of the building, I encountered Marcus Johansson, and I shook his hand, and we saw each other and we said, hey, and stuck our hands out, and we both sort of hesitated a little bit, but we're like, went ahead and did it. And I don't think I've shaken a hand since.
It's amazing what was normal and now isn't. Just over 2 minutes to go. Something that would feel normal would be these guys getting a goal here. Back down along the near side. A laying out for the block shot there by Shane Gersich. Blocking a Carlson chance.
That's impressive.
You want to show the folks who are watching in hockey operations that you'll do what it takes to win. Wilson coming in and getting a pretty big thump along the glass there on Daniel Sprong. Pace picking up a little bit here in the closing moments. Ovechkin flipped it toward the front of the net, and then the rebound is cleared away.
Sprong took a hit to make a play there, too, instead of trying to throw it all the way down the ice. An attempt at the empty net. He tried to make a play and get it out and paid the price for it.
Phoenix Copley is on the bench. 6-on-5, a minute 18 to go here, and a 2-0 lead for Team Red. Kuznetsov, blue line for Ovechkin. And a puck off of Oshie that'll go right wing side. Centering attempt from Eller is sent askew and back down into the team white zone. Hathaway with some pressure near the empty net. Carlson takes the puck. Final minutes. And still no goals for Team Blue. They try to get one closer now. Eller behind the goal. To Kovalchuk in the corner. Ovechkin looking to tee one up. He doesn't want to fire it too high, but he certainly could if he wanted to. Back away now, and a shot in and out from the other side. Wow. In and a score. Ovechkin sneaking one off Holtby, and it looked like it went top left corner.
It looked like a seeing eye shot from way up on the half wall there, probably closer to the blue line for sure. And one of those shots that just had eyes, and it gets through Holtby with 36.2 seconds left. So, well, looks like Team Blue's going to call their timeout here, Johnny. Talk it over, try to get that equalizer.
So Ovechkin getting the goal, and a puck that deflected at the other end, and it looked like from here, it's a long way from us to get there, but it looked like top left corner against Holtby.
Yeah, that's what it looked like here too, and no replay, so your guess is as good as mine.
That's what it's going to say in the box score tomorrow anyway. Ovechkin with 36.2 seconds left after Brian Pino and Garnet Hathaway had first period goals. So now the last chance for Team Blue to get it tied up. And a face-off at center.
Those 6-on-5 goals, a forte for the Capitals during the 69 games of the 2019-20 regular season as well. They were among the league leaders, and a couple of memorable ones, certainly against San Jose.
If you're looking for a guy to get a tie, number 77 would be a good call. TJ Oshie did it 3 times. He's not on the ice currently with 30.1 seconds to go.
Johnny, our producers are telling us that Travis Boyd may have gotten a piece of that Ovechkin shot, so that may explain why it found its way.
We will take their word for that. And being in a non-traditional broadcast position here, but that would be if that is Boyd from Ovechkin. It gets him within 1, and now the opportunity to try and tie. Eller at a half boards with 18 seconds left. Cleared away, rolling toward the empty net. It will be offline. It will go for icing, and the foot race between Pino and Carlson.
Pino is right there, too.
You cat calls from both sides there after that.
He gave it all he could. 13.4 left.
So the last chance in the closing moments to get it tied up, and there is number 77. He of the 3 6-on-5 goals this season. And a drop of the puck. Team Red will win it and clear it. And again on his horse, Ovechkin will get down there to get one more face-off with 6.7 seconds remaining here, and a 2-1 lead for Team Red in this inter-squad scrimmage presented to you by Leidos.
They killed exactly half the clock, whittled it from 13-4 to 6-7.
Back to Carlson, a shot off of Holtby, a rebound there, squibbed off to the corner, and that will do it. Team Red with a 2-1 victory after goals late in the first from Pino and Hathaway. They make it stand up. Mike Vogel for a 2-1 victory, somewhat surprisingly, over Team Blue.
I think so, but you know, as we talked about at the top, you wanted Braden Holtby to get a good number of shots, and I think he got some work. Hopefully all these guys did. That's the idea. Look, there's no real good formula for getting these guys ready, getting them back to the point where they're ready for what's ahead of them, namely the Stanley Cup playoffs. Typically, you're coming out of training camp and going into a rather leisurely start to an 82-game marathon, as it were. Now you're going right to the sprint of the Stanley Cup playoffs, and you're doing it with most guys much closer to 100%, not suffering from a lot of bumps and bruises. So I think, you know, we're all in uncharted territory here, and I think teams are doing the best they can to try to do whatever little things they can do to get their teams ready. Coaching staffs everybody's working with a blank slate here. So, you know, I think that's one thing you can say about Todd Reardon when he's faced with something that he's never had to deal with before. He's going to spend a whole lot of time researching it, trying to talk to people who have gone through it. Good luck in that situation here, but I think he's a creative thinker who, you know, is going to try to come up with something, whether it's unorthodox or not, to give his team, as he always says, the best chance to have success.
Team Red, Team White leaving the ice here. There will be one more practice that will come tomorrow, and then it is off to the bubble in Toronto, and a date with the Carolina Hurricanes on Wednesday. Again, for that game, you can see it locally on NBC Sports Washington. Joe Beninati and Craig Laughlin on the call, and we'll have it on the radio side. Ken Sabrin will rejoin me. 1500 a.m. will be the call, 4 o'clock for the game on Wednesday. Leidos is all caps all the way, and we're the proud presenting sponsor for today's scrimmage. At Leidos, our mission is to make the world safer, healthier, and more efficient through IT, engineering, and science. To learn more, visit Leidos.com. That's Leidos.com. For Mike Vogel and our Monumental Sports Network crew here at MedStar Capitals Iceplex, I'm John Walton saying so long, everybody. Again, the final score, Team Red wins it by a score of 2-1.